Hi, I'm Marsh from StrataGames, and today we are playing some more Wildfire. This is obviously a staple of the format at this point in Pauper. Just a deck that I really like. I know a lot of people don't find it that interesting, but that's okay for them. I happen to enjoy it, and it's been a little while since I played it on the channel, probably like a month and a half or something, so I figured we'd give it a go. So if you're not familiar with Wildfire, welcome to Pauper. We play 4 Chrysalis, 4 Refurbished Familiar, and we're playing a couple Gixian Infiltrators, which grow every time we sacrifice permanents. I'm a big fan of still playing 1 Hydra, because at this point, people just don't expect it, really. And so it gives pseudo haste to a bunch of extra damage. If you have 7 mana, you can give 5 extra damage that your opponent's not expecting on a refurb or something like that. And I find that that can blow people out. And again, they're not expecting it too much. We have 1 Pulse of Marasa to get back any of our various creatures or even lands and gain some life. We play a bunch of removal in Cast Downs and Kirkland Shamans. Nile Spellbombs for Graveyard Hate, card draw with Eviscerator's Insight, Fanatical Offering. Cleansing Wildfire is the main idea of the deck, blowing up your bridge and then ramping with it. We have a Makeshift Munitions, a couple Wellsprings, and Lembas to sacrifice as well. And I like 21 lands with the Bajuka Bog. Some people play 20 lands. I think that's crazy. Some people play 20 lands with a Saga Wildling. I think that's okay, but I'm a big fan of the just straight 21 lands. And then on our sideboard, we have some Duress, Toxin Analysis for if we do need those with our Kirkland Shamans, some extra removal in Go for the Throat, Breath Weapons, Weather the Storm, Troublemaker Oof, and Nile Spellbomb. So let's just take this for a league and see how we do. Thanks to Card Market for sponsoring this video. I've written a comprehensive guide on how to play White Weenie in Pauper, including my ideal stock list, over 30 sideboard matchups, and a sideboard cheat sheet, which gives you a very easy snapshot view and what to sideboard for every single matchup. I also have guides for Black Sack and Esper Affinity. Each guide is only $15, and if you buy one, you will get all future updates that I ever make to that guide for free. I also offer coaching, so if you're interested in upping your Pauper game for any of the decks that I'm very proficient in, or if you're interested in having me play your deck in a future video, you can do a deck donation, which is the only way you'll ever see me playing Cycle Storm or Flickertron. Alright, got right into a match here, and this hand, it's not great. We technically have a 2-drop, but we don't have any card draw or anything like that. That said, I probably will just keep it. We can always cycle the landscape if we need it. We have perfect mana pretty much. Crystallis on 4 is nice. But yeah. Techno Bomba also subscribed with Prime. Thanks so much for that. I hope the Hedron serves you well. Delveros Secrets from our opponent. Not something we've seen a lot recently. Mono Blue Terror has been a little bit less popular, and even when people do play Terror, they don't always play Delver at this point. That said, if we do get another league in, which we probably will, I was almost thinking about playing some Blue Terror, so we might be doing that. They flip this off a Mental Note, Cyclorian for an island, swing for 3. Yeah, their really aggressive start, with us having a very slow start, is not looking great. Like, I would love a Cleansing Wildfire, obviously, because then we could get a Chrysalis on turn 3. If we get it on turn 4, we'll have already taken 3 hits from the Aberration, which is just so much. I mean, Lembas is better, because I could find, like, a removal spell, draw spell, something like that. I could just start trying to race them, playing an Infiltrator here, but that doesn't seem like the right play, necessarily. Yeah, I think we're just going to go for the Lembas. Another Chrysalis. I will keep that. We're going to take a lot from this one Aberration, but then if they try to remove the Chrysalis, we can have a second one, so that seems good. We'll pass here. Mono Blue Terror is a tempo style deck. It's pretty cool. Not sure if better than Dimir, but I like it. I agree. I think, 3 months ago, it was very universally agreed to be the better version. And then with Paupergeddon and everything, Dimir really showed its strength, especially against elves. And so it kind of flipped, and Dimir Terror became the main way to play. But I still like Mono Blue a lot. So I could play a Nyxborn Hydra as a 2/3 to block the Aberration and just trade. Not terrible. They'd probably counter it. Or I could just play an Infiltrator, which starts growing. We save the Hydra for later, when it can be bigger. I think we just play the Infiltrator here. Okay, then I'll play a Landscape, since we can grow it. They have Mental Notes, of course, into a Ponder on their turn. Do you have any plans to go back to the Golgari Dogbones list? That video was awesome, IMO. Not any specific plans. I did really like the list, and I am always interested in, of course, playing Black Sack, but also playing offshoots of it with Golgari and Rakdos and things like that. And that was probably the deck list that I've played that felt the cleanest for a 2-color Black Sack list. So I'll probably try to get back to it at some point, but it's not on my short list, I will say. Swing for 3. We'll crack a Landscape. Grow here. I mean, we get to play a Chrysalis. Oh, I should have grabbed green, maybe, so I could bestow a Hydra. That was wrong. Problem is they're probably going to just counter the Chrysalis. But that's fine. I have another one. I could just crack the Lembus right now and we get to attack for 3 extra damage. Or actually I could just spellbomb them. That might be better. Although they didn't have any Serpents already. But if we ensure that all that they're going to have is an Aberration, that's actually not too scary. Like, it's done some decent damage, but it's not going to be able to outrace us if that's all they have. So we'll crack this. We're not drawing a card off the Spellbomb, and I missed a damage here by waiting to do this until their draw step, but I think this is better than doing it on the end step and then having them like Mental Note and start refilling immediately. Speaking of, there's the Mental Note, mills Tolarian Terror, Team Inferior. Swing for 3, and that's it. Alright, we get our green anyway. So play Chrysalis. At this point, even if they counter this, it's not that big of a deal, which I assume they have a counter since they don't have creatures, probably. But here I can sack 2 spawn, sack a Lembus, hit for 8. We have a lethal attack next turn, plus we have a Hydra for trample that we could even throw on another spawn or something. I think that's worthwhile. They could have a Demon Inferior or a Sleep of the Dead to keep it from attacking, but that's okay. 4 mana Terror is not too bad for us. Swing for 3, Landscape. Play this, I can give +4. So I could give +5, but then if they have like a Force Spike, we'll lose to it. Even +4 still forces them to chump. But if we put it on here and then they have, what, a way to tap this down, that could be bad. We haven't seen any indication of Force Spike, but that doesn't mean it's not here. We also were playing around Force Spike for the last couple turns with the spawn, just naturally. I don't want to lose to that, so I could just do +4 on the spawn here. And then if I do that and they have Force Spike, I still keep this Hydra, and I can still attack and force them to chump here. And then I have 2 different creatures, so that a Demon Fury doesn't fully wreck us. Or a Sleep of the Dead, rather. I think we were going to do that. It's a little conservative, but unless I'm expecting a Vapor Snag, I should still be able to attack with this one. They have to chump here. I guess putting on here for 5 could have won us the game, and even if it doesn't, they still have to chump. Maybe that would have been better, but I don't know. I guess if they get Sleep of the Dead, tap both of these, attack for 3. They're still dead in a couple turns. Yeah, we won there. Maybe I didn't need to play quite that timid, but that's okay. We get another Spellbomb, couple Go for the Throats, and then Duress and Toxin if we want it. Usually I don't mind like 1 Toxin, 1 Krark. We don't need munitions. Hydra's decent. Gixian, yeah, I think maybe a Lembus. Yeah, we'll do that. Alright, we have a Spellbomb right away, but otherwise the hand's pretty bad. We don't have a bridge. Pulse is a late game card. And if we sack the Spellbomb to itself, then we don't have anything for these offerings. But we get a lot of time by just having a Spellbomb as a combo player who doesn't touch Jund, Sneep. It's definitely no Sneep. I think I will keep it anyway. Well, if our Spellbomb gets countered with a Spell Piercer and a Null, we probably just lose. That actually seems kind of bad. Yeah, we're going to mulligan. This one's way better. No, this one's decent. On 5. Get rid of the Infiltrator and Bridge. Getting rid of Bridge is a little greedy. Should maybe be like this. Alright, I mean, this hand isn't amazing, obviously, on 5, but if the Spellbomb got countered, I think this hand is better than that one. If it didn't get countered, maybe that one would have still been better, but I don't think this one's too much worse, to be honest. Alright, we do probably... second Wildfire's nice. I was going to say we probably get countered here, but it's fine. I hope we don't get Steel Sabotaged. That would be very unfortunate. Hydroblast is fine. Mental Note hits Deep Analysis Ponder. I guess they did just Brainstorm. That's pretty good. 2 mana Terror. Get a Vault. We'll go for another Wildfire, see if they have the Hydro. Looks like no. I already have double red, plenty of black. Let's go for the green in case we get the Hydra. Chris is nice. So next turn I get to Chrysalis and Refurb or Offering or something. Deep Analysis. Loses them 3 life. Pizzaman 33 subscribed with Prime. Thanks so much for that. Hope the Hedron serves you well. Get on, the Hydra's back. We're gonna ride that Hydra to victory, that's for sure. Yeah, and them doing the Deep Analysis, that was kind of a move of desperation because that means that they lost a card in their graveyard, so it's harder to cast Terrors, so that's nice. Chrysalis probably gets countered. That's probably fine because we still get the blockers and we have a Pulse of Marasa for it later. So I kind of want to refurb to see if they counter that and then I resolve a Chrysalis. But if I refurb, they let it go and then I Chrysalis and they are playing Force Spike, then they could Force Spike the Chrysalis and that's just so bad for us. We still haven't seen that they're playing Force Spike, so that might not be a great reason to play around it, but to be honest, I don't think they're going to counter the refurb anyway. We should probably tap a red for this. So let's just go with the Chrysalis and watch them counter that. Oh, it resolves. That's great. They could have a Demon Fury or whatever, but still. Here's a refurb. They're going to Brainstorm. Discard an island. Cycle Alorian. Terror coming in. We will chump. Get a mana. Mana burn. Ponder. There's a Serpent. And another Terror. Alright. Things are getting dangerous. I would love another Chris. We'll go for a Wildfire. Grab a Swamp. Get a Bridge. I guess I just hold up Pulse. And Offering here. Probably gonna have to chump. I'm trying to keep Chris around. They still have a lot of cards though, so I feel like this probably gets countered. Oh, maybe not. Oh, all we got was bridges though, so that's lands. That is not very good. Play a Wellspring, cast down. I mean, we're gonna map onto this, try to grow it so that it can block these. It does work. Fanatical on top. Play this so I can have both of these up. I feel like now they're gonna have a Demon Inferior or a Sleep for it, so they're not gonna care. But we're gonna hope that's not the case. Thought Scour mills a couple spells. Demon Inferior. So we can put it on the top. We know we're getting an Offering. We can sack it and we can play it again next turn. So it's not the end of the world. Of course, it doesn't block this turn. I have to resolve both of these to survive is the problem, because either one only still puts us dead. And I don't think I can resolve them both because I assume they'll have a counter spell. Cast this down. Dispel. Pulse puts us at 16 and we take 16. So I can't stop it. Too many guys too quick. Needed a second Chrysalis. Or just some cast downs a little sooner. That was also our mold of 5. I think we did fine considering that. If we had 1 or 2 more cards, I think we would have been okay. But that's how it goes. This hand is decent. A little awkward with the landscapes because I'm going to have to crack them at some point to get our green or whatever. But we have our black and red, which is what's important. Play a Wellspring. Hope for no Spell Pierce or a Null. Another Chris is good. That's what we needed last time. They mill 2 spells right away. That's pretty good for them. Swamp. So I can play a Swamp. Hold up Offering, crack the landscape for green. It's probably the best I can do. I could just play a Lembas, but I think I'd rather get the Offering off. They're going to Brainstorm, and they're going to pass. We'll go for a draw 3. That works. Get a green. So if I go Chris, it obviously gets countered. So instead, I could just Wildfire and Lembas. I think that might be better. Yeah, because I could really use the mana, to be honest. I think we should get more, probably another green so I can double Chris in the future. Lembas, we're actually going to have to discard here unless they counter this, but that's probably fine. Yo, what's up? Jund will be great. Bojuka Bog is good in this matchup. Yeah, it's probably worth keeping. Probably just get rid of a land. I don't need more green, probably. 3 mana Terror is pretty decent for us. So I'd probably just Chrysalis, hold up Offering, and then Bojuka Bog. It didn't even do anything there. That's pretty good. Alright, Bog 'em, and we'll just pass. Marsh tips to play faster and close games properly as a Junder. Yeah, good question. I would say just, this comes with obviously playing plenty of the deck, but knowing what your goal is early, mid, and late is important. So in almost every situation, all I want to do for the first 3 to 4 turns of the game is develop my mana. Cleansing Wildfire is usually the best way to do that, and draw cards. But specifically putting cards on the board, like Ichor Wellspring, Lembas, Nile Spellbomb, things like that. So unless you're under crazy pressure, I don't need to worry on turn 3, oh, should I play a Nyxborn Hydra or even a Gixian Infiltrator. Usually I don't care about doing that stuff early. So you don't need to weigh those decisions. Same with cast downs and go for the throats. You don't need to worry about using those early. Again, unless you're under a lot of pressure. But in any general game where it's just kind of you're both developing your game plan, just figure out what you're doing first, which in our case is pretty much always developing mana and cards. So that's going to help you go faster early. I don't know if I really want to throw a Chrysalis into a counterspell here, or I could actually go for the Throat on this, and then if they counter that, I could resolve a Chrysalis. I think that's probably worthwhile. They could have a Dispel and then a counterspell for this, but whatever. Yeah, and then, alright, they just let it go. So I'm not going to even cast Chrysalis then. And then in the mid-game, you're trying to stabilize, you're trying to cast your creatures, but usually for defense, assuming they have any creatures at all. So you're getting your Chrysalises out, your refurb, stuff like that, but you're not even necessarily going for attacks. And then late game, you're just trying to, attack them as much as possible. And this deck, more than a lot, has so many little intricate ways to get 1 more damage here or there. Cracking a Spawn will give you more damage from your Chrysalis, but also your Gixians. Cracking a map can get you 1 more damage on anybody. Having a Hydra could get you more damage. If you have a Gixian Infiltrator on board, every single card you could sacrifice could be 1 more damage. And so once you've taken control of the game, it's important to just start saying, or just try to figure out how to increase the clock as quickly as possible. So if they're at 18 life and you have a Gixian Infiltrator at 5 power, well, if you get it 1 more power, you have a 3-turn clock instead of a 4-turn clock, which is really good. And so I would generally try to sacrifice 1 more thing if you can. Even if it's a spawn you're wasting the mana on, or a Lembas that you don't need the life for, something like that is still probably beneficial enough. For example, here, I could just sandbag all of my spawn because they could be great blockers later or whatever, but I'm in the driver's seat, and I'm about to blow up their graveyard unless they have like an annul or something. So I'm actually happy to sacrifice some spawn here just to get some more damage in. To play like our spell bomb, then I'm going to blow up their graveyard because they have a deep analysis. All right, yeah, they were having trouble getting their graveyard filled. I assume they have probably 3 or 4 snakes in hand or something, so the spell bomb's going to do it for them. But yeah, I could just leave my Chrysalis at 3 power and start attacking, and it's going to take 6 turns or whatever. But I could pump it up to 6 power this turn, and then my second Chrysalis I could pump up next turn. I could probably kill them next turn, whereas if I just take it slow, it could take a lot longer. So yeah, the important thing once you have taken control of the game is just try to maximize all your damage. The biggest way to the easiest way to forget your damage is don't forget that a map is about 60% of the time is going to be 1 extra damage. You could hit a land off of it, but if you don't, it's 1 extra damage from your refurb, which can increase your clock, your Gixian, even a spawn, So don't forget about your maps. I must say you're awesome as a coach. So much knowledge. I appreciate that. This is what I say every single time people give me compliments at like my LGS or whatever. I don't do a lot else. Mostly all I do is play Pauper or Magic in some variety. So I have a ton of knowledge because this is what I dedicate all my time to. This hand is terrible. I don't mind with 2 Krarks like sacrificing 1 to an offering, but I have to play a landscape turn 1, sacrifice it for a red. Turn 2, I can play Krark and another landscape. Turn 3, I can sacrifice it for an offering. Even if we're against a deck where Krark is good, we have no artifacts currently. I guess 1 from the offering. And we have no bridges. So this hand is very bad. There are a lot of hands that you can keep that are just 2+ lands and a bunch of permanents and things like that. But usually you need a bridge in there, or at the very least you need like Wellsprings and things like that are actively drawing you. This hand's really good, actually. Even on 6, we're going to put back a Wellspring. That means I have Spell Bomb for if I'm against any deck where that matters. I have my Wellspring for my Insight, and I also have a Cleansing Wildfire to ramp. I don't know why a list doesn't pull this up. I should probably change that, but deck is right there. Agreed, he's the best non-Gates player out there. I play Gates every couple of months, but you're right. I definitely could not compare to people who have Gates knowledge. It's tough to be that good. All right, get rid of that. You almost always want to start on black-red for your bridges because green in the main deck is only needed for Pulsa Marasa, Nyxborn Hydra, and Chrysalis, which are all late-game cards, or at least Chrysalis is turn 4 or onward, or rather 4 mana or onward. Whereas I could get like a Eviscerator's Insight or Gixian Infiltrator or something I want to play, or even just crack a Spell Bomb. That changes a little bit if you bring in Weather the Storm or Troublemaker Oof, then you might need your green a little bit earlier, but for now, we don't. Looks like we're against Rally. I don't mind another Wildfire, although I would have preferred an untapped land so I could actually use a Wildfire this turn. Ginger Brutes. Okay. Could be Rally. Ginger Brute often means it's more like that red Axes build, which is like Rally adjacent, but it's got Axes and Ginger Brutes. Now I wish we had Krark for sure, but that's okay. Trying to figure out if I just want a Cleansing Wildfire and sack this landscape for another colored mana, or if I'd rather play a Cleansing Wildfire and then crack Spell Bomb for a card draw. That also gives me the possibility of drawing a Refurb, which I could play right away, or even a Krark. So I think that's better, not tapping out of our colored mana fully here. Because yeah, Refurb, Krark, Spell Bomb. I have about 10 cards I could draw here that would be decent and playable. Chrysalis, not one of them. It's still good. Going to be great next turn, but not what I needed for this turn. Command took you to black-green life gain. That's what we were playing last time, but I thought I updated the deck list. Here's what we're playing directly, so there you are. Burning Tree. Okay, so Rally is coming, and that seems bad. Bushwhacker's really bad, so that's 11, so we're at 5. I'm going to use the Blood Token with the floating green. Well, even with Chrysalis, we're going to need some like life gain to survive here, and seems tough. Or Krark, and we need them to not have any burn. That would be a good way to survive. Lembas is life gain, but if I spend 4 mana doing that, I go to 8. I still just take 6, go to 2. So I don't think that works. I think I have to play Chrysalis, block, block, block. We go to 3, die to a bolt, but I have to just hope we don't die to a bolt. Or I could like Eviscerate his Insight, sack a bridge to try to find a Krark. Or Lembas, I guess, looks just as far for the Krark. It's 2. So I could Lembas. If we find Krark, we might be able to survive. Chrysalis still makes us die to 1 Lightning Bolt, which I think is so likely that they find. Whereas if we get Krark, we're dead to 2 Lightning Bolts. I think it's better to look for Krark here. So we're going to do that. Gaia Malgis was playing a similar red rally list with Synth and Demand Answers. Thought that was smart. Yeah, I like that combo. All right, we found Krark right away. So that's good. I can play Krark and Wellspring and then wipe the board. We have to sack 2 artifacts for that. Or I could just chump the Burning Tree and play Krark. I mean, this is what we're doing regardless. So we're still dead to 2 bolts, but we did make it so that we don't die to just 1, which is nice. Unfortunately, they draw a card off the Percussionist. We're going to wait until their combat, because otherwise they could play a haste creature or something, and that's not what we want to happen. I mean, we could definitely be dead, but I think we've done what we can to try to survive. I'm gonna block here, sack the Wellspring. The question is, do I want to sack a bridge too? I don't think so. I think if we wipe all the 1/1s and then we play Chrysalis, sack Lembas next turn, that should be okay. They could. I can sack. Excuse me. Oh, actually, I can't sack a bridge and play Chrysalis. So and I don't want to sack the Lembas. So yeah, we are just going to sacrifice the Wellspring here. If I had like a Vault of Whispers to sacrifice, I'd probably do that, but another Chrysalis. All right. Well, their Percussionist is going to hit something. It's a Lightning Bolt. That's unfortunate. So if they have 2 damage in hand, we're dead. They don't have 2 damage in hand. And we get another Krark. Well, that's good. Let's play Chris. And we're going to sack Lembas right away, keeping a spawn, so we have an extra blocker. All right, we might be able to stabilize here then. I've always wondered why no one plays Demand Answers in Boros Moxite. Seems great in the deck. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. Rally and Bushwhacker. I mean, I wish I was able to play Krark. Oh, I could. No, I didn't have the red to play Krark last turn. Well, we go to 1 here, so I need more life gain. Another Lembas would be good. Pulse of Marasa. Let's see. So I can play another Chrysalis and we have blockers, but we're just dead to any burn spell, even a Voldarn Epicure. I can play Krark, wipe their board, of course. So I could just draw to try to find... Like if we get Pulse of Marasa, that's pretty good. Sacrifice a bridge. If I get Pulse, I can use it. If I don't get Pulse, I could still play a Krark. I mean, I could do both. Yeah, I mean, I think we need to draw to try to make sure we don't die. Chrysalis just takes up too much mana here, I think. Offering, so I could obviously do it again. But then I can't even play Pulse unless I get an untapped land too. So I think now I just play a Chrysalis. We still die to any damage, direct damage, but we don't die. And it gives us mana for next turn. We don't die to what they have on board, not to mention if they get 1 more attacker. If they have another rally, we'll lose. We're not going to attack because I don't want to die to 1 haste creature. But, yep, they just drew the Galvanic. That was unfortunate. We were not getting there. Really close to stabilizing. The rally Bushwhacker immediately after the Krark was brutal. Alright, we do get Weather, Troublemaker Oof, Breath Weapon, Toxin. Cast downs are bad. Spell bombs we don't need. It was a nuts draw for them. It was pretty good for sure. Don't need any of this. Yeah, we get a lot of sideboard cards though. Some life gain, better blockers, or cheaper blockers. Breath Weapons, more board wipes. So hopefully we can be okay here. This one's good. We have mana, life gain, card draw, and a Breath Weapon. And we're on the play. They could still have like the nuts on turn 2. Burning Tree maybe, into rally. But after that we'll have a Breath Weapon available. So here I am going to lead on the green bridge. 1, because I brought in Weather and Troublemaker, if like I mentioned, but also I have an untapped black source, so that changes which one I want to play a little bit. Alright, we'll play Slagwood's Bridge and pass. Furnace Percussionist. So I could just play a Lembas or Wellspring. Wellspring's better if I get a draw to... It's probably better to have the Lembas on the field. Just do that. Weather is good. We'll keep that. Pass. Is Makeshift just too slow? I would have thought it was good into a deck of 1/1s. Yeah, so it's theoretically good into a deck of 1/1s. I love it, for example, against like Blue Fairies. It's like incredible there. But yes, it is too slow. By the time that we have a Makeshift Munitions on board, and have the mana and the cards to dedicate to like picking them off. Because like if we saw last game, I could have thrown some spawn and stuff, but like we were pretty minimal on our card or our permanence. So I would have had to start throwing like bridges and stuff like that, and that just obviously wouldn't have been good enough. And so yeah, it's just too slow. It's not really amazing until like turn, I would say 5 or 6 probably, and by then you could already be dead. So yeah, I'm not a big fan. We're hoping they walk into the breath weapon, but if not here, I could just take it, and then we hold up Weather the Storm for if they cast 1 or 2 more spells, and if not, I Lembus. It's not terrible. I think I will take 3 here. This also gives, like, makes them think I might not have a breath weapon or something. Reckless Impulse, they get a Mountain and a Tomb Raider. I would love for them to play the Tomb Raider, because then I will just breath weapon, but they might save it for next turn. But then they're going to have to play it at some point. So yeah, they go for it now. I could still just Weather here for 9. 9's a good amount, but I can also just breath weapon and then hold up Weather for later. I think that's fine. Breath weapon him now. Percussionist gets him a Rally. So that's a reason maybe I want to play a Krark. I know the Rally's coming. They could then like bolt the Krark first. That's probably fine. If I play Krark, I don't have Weather up. But I could play Infiltrator, which grows, although I don't really want to sack a Lembus. I don't really want to sack a Bridge if I don't have to, so I could Wellspring. That might be better. Yeah, I think we're going to Wellspring, actually. We'll play the Krark, play a Bridge, and pass. So if they have like a Bolt, they might use it on the Krark so that I can't Rally, or I can't wipe their Rally, which is probably smart. Yeah, they're going to do that. So I could just sack the Wellspring if I want, but I think I'm fine with that. Play the Mountain, go for the Rally. I would play Weather and save Breath Weapon for the next attack in case he made Bush Rally. Yeah, that might have been a little better. I felt like with the Krark that I had, I wasn't too concerned with them like reassembling a board, but I guess it would have been one more turn I could stave them off with the Breath Weapon. But it was more mana efficient to do it that way, although I could have cracked the Landscape. I don't know, you could have been right for sure. Here, I can just play Infiltrator, hold up Weather and Offering, Lembus, just hold up everything. I think we want to play our creature. Landscape does give this a counter, but I want to hold up the ability to Offering or Weather the Storm, so we're just going to tap out of it this turn. There's a Bushwhacker and another Bushwhacker. That's pretty good. It's 11 damage, so I can't grow this to survive any of these. So I think I just trade, take 8, and I Weather, which puts me to 12. Then I have a bunch of card draw for later to hopefully find like a Chrysalis or something. I think that's fine. Not amazing because I would have loved to keep the Infiltrator alive, but this is too much damage, and there's no way I was getting it to have 4 toughness there. So there's Chris, perfect. So we get to play that. We hold up Lembus, we have blockers, we have Offering. Pretty good. Do you record all your leagues? No, I play quite a few leagues offline because if I didn't, I would never have enough time to test, especially the decks that I play a lot, Black Sack, White Weenie, Esper Affinity, that I have guides for and stuff like that. I would never be able to test them enough if I was only recording, unless I just had like a million recordings backed up, which I don't. And also sometimes I just want to play casually and not have to talk through every single play and stuff like that, so I do record a lot of my leagues for sure, but not all of them. All right, so I can Fanatical Offering here. I could just crack a Lembus, but I think I want to get the card draw. I could Offering the Spawn, then I have a Wellspring for later, but obviously I'm drawing 1 fewer card. But if I get another Offering, it's better. But I'll have a map. I think it's fine. I think I'll just go for the Wellspring here to draw an extra one. We got an Offering. So we'll take 2. I get to eat the Bushwhacker. Another Chrysalis here is pretty nice. So I'll play the land, play another Chris, and so I could play Gixian Infiltrator with our mana here, and then I get another counter from it from the Spawn. Then I can't Offering, but actually I can crack the Lembus, which is also pretty decent, so I think I will do that. Is this the time to start attacking? I'm at 10, plus I can gain 3. I have 4 blockers. I think so. And then I'll pass. Just a suggestion in members for YouTube, you could upload some leagues. Even if you don't say nothing, I think it will be very valuable. Yeah, I mean, I'm always up for suggestions, so I appreciate that. I don't think that most people would care for that necessarily. And the whole point is that like I get to relax when I'm not recording. Not just in not talking, but also like, you know, I don't have to be presentable. I don't have to be wearing, you know, clothes, things like that that I can't necessarily put on or don't want to put up on the channel. But yeah, I don't know. I just like to have some leagues where I get to just relax. But now that replays are back, if I get a league that actually has a really good record or some good games or something like that, I can still actually just make a video of those if I want to. Toxin's great because we can gain a bunch of life. I think a silent video of MTGO with no webcam is a little dry. Yeah, I would agree. I would never watched that video personally. All right. I'm pretty sure we can just go on the offensive here with a Toxin that can gain us a ton of life. So I'm going to sack these spawn, grow our guys, and play a Lembas here. Insight. Sure, we'll keep that. Map onto the Infiltrator, which automatically gives it 1 counter. Might give it a second. Weather the Storm's on top. That's pretty good. We'll still leave back a couple blockers, but attack with this guy. They don't take it. I can Toxin, crack a clue. Alright, they concede. I was trying to figure out the best way to do this. I could crack a couple landscapes and then also like offering. It'll get to 9 and I'll gain 9. But I had a weather on top I didn't want to lose. So I'd probably crack a clue or an offering here and then just weather for 9 as well. So we'd go up to like 28 and it'd be pretty good. I've watched a lot of those, but I get it. Yeah, I mean, if you take something from those types of videos, that's totally fine. I just, I need someone to connect with / someone who's actually explaining what they're doing, because if I'm trying to learn from them, for example, they're probably doing something that I don't necessarily fully expect. Not every single turn, obviously, but like sometimes. And so then I need to have some interaction there, some discussion. This hand is not great because we have no interaction and we have no creatures, but I do have a Weather and a Lembas. I can get green on turn 1 with Landscape, and Lembas can help find like a Kark or a Breath Weapon. I don't think this is good enough. I was just going to say, we haven't seen refurbs like at all this league, almost. And we see them, but they're really bad here. This hand is unkeepable as well. All right, well, we're going to keep this one. Don't have a choice. Probably get rid of a Wildfire and a Wellspring. But then Refurb's so expensive. I might just get rid of the Insight, actually. Not a great hand. Would the first hand have been better? Probably. Just because I had more reliable land drops. Card draw. Oof is pretty good, though. Bushwhacker. Okay. That means they might not have, like, a rally, because they would usually want to save Bushwhacker for after that. So I could just Wellspring, and then that lets me Oof next turn. I think I need the Cleansing Wildfire for the mana, and then hopefully I draw an untapped land, and I can, like, play 2 things next turn, Wellspring and Oof, or maybe Refurb. So we'll Wildfire here for black, obviously. And we got Pulse, that's decent, we'll pass. Do you tend to mulligan aggressively into your sideboard cards? Sometimes. It depends on the matchup. I think the biggest example of me doing that is in several White Weenie videos when playing against elves. I've had perfectly acceptable, if not very good, normal hands that have no interaction, and I know that that's just not going to beat elves. And so I will mulligan very aggressively for a Standard Bearer or a Holy Light or something. In this deck, against this matchup, I wasn't specifically mulliganing because I didn't have like a Kark or a Breath Weapon, but I didn't have anything. Like, if I had a Refurb, a Gixian Infiltrator, a Chrysalis, something to block, I probably would have kept that hand. But I had nothing to block. I had nothing to kill their creatures. Weather the Storm is a fine card, but it's not the end-all be-all in this matchup, because, you know, if we gain 9 and then they hit us for 10 every turn with their creatures, it doesn't save us, right? So, yeah, I definitely don't do it every time. But you need, like, against a deck that's going to kill you by turn 4, if you don't do anything, you need to have a way to do something, you know? Alright, so here we could play Troublemaker Oof and nothing. I could play a Wellspring and a Kark. I think that's the way I'm leaning. I could obviously just play a Weather the Storm, but that's not good. I could play a 3-mana Refurb. That's not good. Yeah, I think we're doing Wellspring. This could draw me an untapped land, which could open up my choices. If I get Vault of Whispers, this would be amazing, because then I could play Refurb and still Kark. Bridge is not bad, but that's obviously still not quite as good. Well, we get to Kark here. It's not terrible. And then we got a land, so next turn I can, like, Oof and Refurb or something. What do you think about the new list people are running with more Gixian, no Fountain, Pulse, and Toxins? Okay, real quick, they're just bolting this. Obviously, I'm going to use it, but then they're going to have a Burning Tree and a Rally, I assume. That's the only reason this would probably be a worthwhile trade, rather than just throwing 3 damage at us. Just Rally, okay. That's fine. More Gixian, no Fountains. Yeah, so no Fountains is the big thing. I think they're okay. I don't mind no Fountains. With Gixian Infiltrator, you have enough threats that you don't really need the Fountains, but Fountains also really good, not just for recurring creatures, but also for getting your Karks to be able to deal more damage, Fanatical Offerings, things like that. So I don't care. So no Fountains I think is fine. I've never been the biggest fan of Pulse, although it's looking really good here, because I can Pulse back this Kark, gain a bunch of life, which we might be doing. But I think no Toxin is crazy. I think that you need Toxin Analysis for elves. So I usually put mine in my sideboard at this point because I do run Gixians. But no Toxin. I know the idea is that Kark would kill the Gixians. You have a lot of creatures it kills. But Toxin is just so important against elves and Gruul monsters, which isn't as popular right now. But also, I think Toxin Analysis goes great with Gixian Infiltrator. It gives a way to grow it, and also it can gain you like 10 life really easily. Also, no Lembas. That's interesting. That said, if this is like, I know that Walker tests a lot of different lists, and this might very well be a Walker list. And Walker knows way more about this deck than I do. So what am I saying? I don't know. All right, real quick, we can Lembas, Refurb, Troublemaker Roof. Actually, there's nothing to sack with the Troublemaker, so it's pretty much just a blocker, which is fine. So I could just Pulse and Lembas this turn. Did I play a land? I did. I just played a swamp. Pulse and Lembas. Or I could Lembas, Refurb, crack Lembas. Go up to 10. They discard a card. I like them discarding a card when they're on 2. I kind of want to sack this landscape for more green, because we have so many green cards. I mean, I'm not getting rid of a Chrysalis, I don't think. Lembas Refurb Weather isn't like game winning. Yeah, I guess that's pretty good too. It is pretty game winning, isn't it? We go up to 16. They have 1 card. We have blocker. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's probably the play. Like, I could also just play a Troublemaker Roof, and then we have blockers for both their guys, which is decent. But I'm not getting the bargain value, and also theoretically they could have like Lightning Bolt, Fire Blast. So yeah, I think the weather's probably good. Good suggestion. Totally agree. I think Toxin is extremely strong. Yeah, I agree. Like, it's great with Krark, of course, but it's also just really good on a Chrysalis or a Gixian. So I think people forget about the lifelink from Toxin a little bit too much. Bushwhacker's decent, but now we can still just pulse back the Krark if we want. Or I could just play Chrysalis. Yeah, I think play Chrysalis first. Let's get a red in there. Discard a Great Furnace. I'll swing with everything. I don't mind blocking because we can just crack our Lembas here with the mana, that is, which we'll want to do at some point anyway. Plus, if we Krark, we're going to want to sack those as well. We have a Burning Tree Emissary. We'll get another green. Fanatical. I don't know how they come back from here. They probably do not. I'm just trying to make sure we think everything through, because I think I'm sacrificing a land here. More offerings. Yeah, I don't have anything to Troublemaker Roof. I can pulse at any time, so I think I just pass here. Percussionist. If they just attack, they're only getting in for 3. Throwing away a 2-power guy. Sack this. Sack this. I would have pulsed the Familiar to draw a card. I thought about that, but I think I'd rather have the pulse for the Krark active in case they got like a Ren's Resolve into Rally into Bushwhacker or something. So I didn't really want to use it on just the Refurb there. But I think now we can Wildfire here, play a landscape, pulse back Krark, play Krark, attack. Match seems pretty over for the opponents. I would agree. They play a Tomb Raider and concede. Alright, we got there against Rally. Harbor Master. Pretty sure they're someone who comments on a lot of our videos. So, unless it's a different Harbor Master with missing an E, but I believe that's the same. Let's reach the 5-0 again. It's so early, we're going to jinx it. But here's hoping. They say, hey, Marsh. And they say, cheers and good luck. This hand is very good, by the way. Pretty much perfect mana. And, I guess no Wildfire makes it not, like, perfect. But, like, really good mana. 2-drop and draw, and refurb, and it's good. Oh, look at that. I said we had no Wildfire, but I was mistaken. I forgot that the top of our deck was a Wildfire. Let's reach the 2-3 again. I jinxed it the other way. Perfect. Now we'll get a solid 3.5, 1.5. Flame Breather. All right, that's scary. I think I just played Chrysalis. We start attacking. This also gives us the mana to draw a bunch next turn and still have a way to like mana to cast this down. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, Gutter Snipe. We are in trouble if we cannot find a Krark or a cast down. Chukabog's not what we need right now. I'm gonna just use colorless mana up so that we have as much colored mana as possible for this Wellspring. Vault of Whispers is decent. Now draw 3. Krark would be great. Like, I'll sack all my lands to kill these two. Makeshift would have been good earlier. But now I don't have the mana. Oh, come on. I don't have the mana now to like pick off this Gutter Snipe even. So I think I just refurb. I drew so many lands. Refurb, and then I can Pachuca Bog away whatever they discard. That's like all I have. Or do I just want to play more artifact lands so that my munitions is better if I start sacrificing them? Maybe. Well, we're going to refurb, and depending on what they discard, I'll Pachuca Bog or Bridge. It was a snacker. Yeah, I mean, we'll just Pachuca Bog that. I could attack with Chrysalis. We might take a couple back. They could even then Lava Dart the refurb, and we'll take 2 more. Yeah, we'll just pass. If I'd drawn Makeshift at the beginning of the turn, though, I could have killed the Gutter Snipe with, like, the spawn or something. But, I mean, they could just have, like, 3 lightning bolts. Pretty much kills us. There's a robbery. Can't count how many times I've died in this situation. Yeah, it's annoying, because, I mean, we're not like Gardens. We don't have 14 removal spells, and we missed, but we do have 4 cast downs and 3 Krarks, so I had a fair number of cards to draw to interact here. That's all they're doing. I mean, I realize they have instant speed stuff, but, like, we're not dead. They missed... No, they didn't miss a land drop. Okay, never mind. They were baiting us. I mean, we're still not dead, I guess. Refurb could give them a fiery temper, so let's not do that. I mean, I simply must Makeshift down this Gutter Snipe if I want any hope of not dying. Throw a map. I have to throw an artifact, and then my refurb costs more, but I don't want to refurb now and let them have a fiery temper. That's just so bad. So I guess we do the vault. I'm sure we'll take a bolt or 2 in response. Yep, that's 6 damage. And a Lava Dart, which is 8 damage if they flash it back. Although I guess I could have killed the Gutter Snipe with it on the stack if I wanted to sack another thing. Save 2 life, that might have been better. We get a 3. Yeah, these are just unfortunate. I mean, we'll play refurb. I was off the banned Gutter Snipe train for a bit, but now I think I'm back. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. Yeah, I feel that. Every time this happens to me, I'm definitely on the train of banned Gutter Snipe. We are dead. Alright, we get Duress, Toxin, Go for the Throat, Weather the Storm, and Spellbomb. That's a lot. I don't know if we'll fit all of that, but we get rid of Hydra. I mean, truly, Munitions is not usually good enough, so I don't even know if we keep that. I think we get rid of Gixian. I've seen lists that don't even run him. I don't know how much it would do. Yeah, I mean, the deck's pretty good even without him, but I feel like he is the main problem. This is so many cards. Thoughts on Terminate over Go for the Throat? It'd probably be fine. I don't think the difference would make that, like, would be that relevant. Obviously, it's a card you could bring in for Affinity then, but I'm not sure you care about it that much for Affinity. I guess you can bring it in against, like, other Jund and still, you know, for Chrysalis and stuff, but still use it on a refurb if you need. Terminate kills Guardian of the Guild Pact. Yeah, that's true. I haven't gone up against a lot of the Gates decks, but I know that there are a ton, and it's pretty popular right now, so I could see that. Also hits Pesky Legends. That is true, although Go for the Throat also hits the Legends. But I understand it doesn't hit Artifact. I think you're not bringing this in against Affinity opponents, obviously, but, like, you don't even care to bring in more hate against Affinity opponents. So for that reason, I don't think it makes a difference. But if you're bringing it in for Guardian, because Guardian's a problem, I think that's reasonable. Again, with as much various Gates decks are going around, I think it's probably a little bit more reasonable now. I'm going to cut Munitions because usually that situation wouldn't happen. Like, maybe it would have been okay there, but I don't think that's usually what we need. I mean, I guess I don't even know if Krark is decent. The problem is the removal is, like, if they just wait until their combo turn to do it, they don't even have to care about our removal. I don't know. I'll cut some of these. If you swap him for Thermo Alchemist, I think the deck's pretty fair. Yeah. I think the deck's definitely a little bit more fair with an Alchemist instead. Refurb being the second most played creature in the format makes Go for the Throat feel a little rough. I understand, but I just don't think... Like I said, you probably don't care to bring in Go for the Throat or any single target removal spell. Like, you wouldn't bring a Terminate against Affinity. You probably would against another Jund player, so Refurb being there could matter. I don't know. I just don't know if you care that much about that. Grab a Swamp here. You don't need Terminate, leave our Guardians alone. Also seen Fanged Flames, which works for Guardian and can't be Hydroblasted sorcery speed, though. Yeah. This is why maybe I should have played a Spellbomb earlier, but we also had Tap Land into Cleansing, so we probably were not doing that. Fanged Flames, yeah, I think... I wouldn't do Fanged Flames in this deck, because you have the black, but I would do Fanged Flames in a deck where you were like Jeskai or something, you know, where you didn't have access to Terminate. Alright, so I can Duress. We probably need to Lembus to try to hit a land drop. So then the question is, do I Duress or Spellbomb? If I get an untapped land, I could just do both. I'm not going to take another Chrysalis. I mean, I think I Duress, and I didn't get the land drop, unfortunately. Okay. Rite of Flame. Guerrilla Tactics. Deals 2 damage to any target whenever a spell or ability an opponent control causes you to discard this card. It deals 4 damage to any target. Well, let's not make them discard that card then, huh? I'll take the Robbery. So, Guerrilla Tactics is just a 2-mana shock, as long as we don't make them discard. They said, no, the tech is revealed. I wasn't expecting that. They obviously brought that in for Refurbished Familiar, but because I had so many cards I wanted to bring in, I actually cut the refurbs. But yeah, that's pretty funny. Rite of Flame is also very interesting. Flame Breather, spice level, Ghost Pepper. Yeah, it's pretty spicy for sure here. Weather the Storm. This is not casting it, right? No. Let's see. So I could just go for the throat. Duress again. I know I have a Rite of Flame hit, so I don't have to be scared of tactics. I do want to hit that land drop, though. So I could Offering, but if we whiff, it's just really bad. And if I go for the throat on this, they could just Gutter Snipe, and that could be worse. He can cast the right. It's a sorcery, so can't cast the right. So I'm just trying to figure out. I guess maybe I Duress, and then I hold up Weather and Lembus / Offering. Does not seem great. But if I whiff on my land drop, I'm just hosed. I think that's what we're doing, though. I think we're Duressing. Even if all I take is a right, like, I get rid of a spell, or I get rid of a Fire Blast. That seems better. Duress the Guerrilla Tactics is a sideboard card, so it must be scary. That's a very good call. I hadn't even considered that. I think we'll take the Fire Blast. So they have right, Gutter Snipes, Tactics. So I could go for the throat on this, and then if they Gutter Snipe, I have a turn where it doesn't matter. That's not very good. I don't think they're gonna... I think we just... I don't think casting this down or going for the throat matters here. I don't love having to use this on a Lembus, which could gain us life, but I think the chance of hitting a land drop is too good to pass up, even if we whiff. Because also, if we get a land, we can play a Chrysalis next turn, which is an avenue to gain more life with the Toxin. They got a land, so I guess that's pretty bad. They can Gutter Snipe, Rite of Flame, which deals us 3, Guerrilla Tactics, which deals us 5, but I guess then they're out of stuff. Didn't hold up Weather for that, but if I had, would they have even played all of it? Probably not. Probably just the Gutter Snipe. So we're going to go to 5 here, if they do cast it, which I don't know why they wouldn't. I mean, definitely some interesting tech that I haven't seen before, so threw off what I was playing around a little bit. They didn't even do it because they're still playing around Refurb or Duress. I mean, it's 5 damage from hand. They have 5 damage on board, so that's 10. I could Spellbomb and Weather, but I could also just go for the throat on this, which saves 4 of that damage, potentially more. So that's definitely better. Yeah, so we're just killing this, Spellbomb, and if they draw Lightning Bolt, we die. But I still think this is the safer play. If I'm lucky, we get an untapped land, and I could, like, Toxin, Spellbomb, Weather if I want, just to gain some life. They swing for 3. They're going to cast the Tactics, so that does not bode well. Probably would. It's an instant, so they wouldn't do that unless they just have us dead. Lava Dart deals 4. That's pretty annoying. Yep, just missing land drops. This is why I play 21, and yet still sometimes don't get there. First time catching a stream. Love your videos. Thanks so much. I appreciate you tuning in. Glad you're able to catch a stream just in time for me to absolutely get crushed by madness, too. Rip the 5-0, tried to stop the Jinx. Jinx was too powerful, unfortunately. Feels like the whole meta revolves around madness. You're 100% right. It absolutely does. No deck can be good enough, I think. Like, you can't have a deck that's like tier 1, certainly, but even close to tier 2 if you can't deal with madness. Obviously, we lost to Madness, but also we have a fine matchup against Madness. Probably a little unfavored, but a lot of sideboard cards for them. We could definitely win. It just didn't happen that time. I think we would have been fine if we had hit our land drops. Because, I mean, we had double Weather the Storm. We had a bunch of 1-drops, so it wouldn't have been too hard to draw to gain like 9 twice if we had just gotten those lands. But that's okay. We do have turn 2 Wildfire here, which is pretty nice. And as long as we get our 4th land, this hand is really good. And there it is. Tap land means if I don't get an untapped land, I won't Chrysalis on turn 3, but that's okay. I guess we have enough black and green, or red and green. I probably just go for black. Although if I get a red or a green, that gives me more avenues to get an untapped land that could play Chrysalis on turn 3. I feel like if I don't get black, I'm going to regret it later. But if I get a Chrysalis a turn early, it would definitely be worth it. Plus, we have so much other red and green in our hand. I actually do think we're going to go for the mountain here. There's an Infiltrator. Grab the prize and a Snacker. So we're running it back. Attack for 1. Get a Gixian. I can't Pulse, and I can't Chrysalis because we didn't get the land, so now I definitely regret not getting the Swamp. We'll play a Krark and an Infiltrator. To be fair, Grixis and John 2, apart from full aggro, you're hard-pressed to find a deck not running Artifact Hate. That is true, but both Junt and Grixis don't have the capability to kill you on turn 4 like Madness does. So I think it polarizes the format a little bit more than those decks. But yeah, you definitely want to be able to handle Grixis and Jund as well. Temper on the Infiltrator. Can't keep it alive. I could block Epicure here. Currently, Krark's my only answer to like Gutter Snipes and stuff, but I have a Pulse and Rasa if I need to, so I think I will just to keep the Epicure gone, or get it gone, I suppose. Oh, Jagged Barons. So we're actually against Rakdos, which I didn't realize. Doesn't change too much, except we don't have to be worried about dying to a Gutter Snipe now. The chances they can deal 13 to us are a lot lower. It's actually pretty good. We're just going to play Chris because it blocks, unless they Dark Withering it or something. The next turn I can... that's even more reason to to block with the Krark then. Obviously I didn't know that, but like Krark does basically nothing in this matchup. So I'm pretty happy with that trade now. And I can pulse back Gixian instead, maybe. They're going to swing with the Snacker. I'll block. If they want to use a Bolt and even just get the Snacker back, or just get the Snacker back, then that's fine. Yeah, they're going to Bolt it. If they were going to use the Bolt anyway, a little trick you should do is, when I block with the Chrysalis, Bolt right then before the Snacker deals damage, because then I have to sacrifice a spawn to keep my Chrysalis alive to kill the Snacker, which means I would be down one spawn. Since they didn't do that, I still have my spawn, so just a little advantage they could have gained. We're still at 12. We only took 1, so I don't necessarily need to pulse this turn. So I think I Chrysalis... Well, okay, so I could Chrysalis using a spawn here, so I have a colored mana, and then I could Wildfire or Eviscerate Insight. I guess I could use both spawn, and we don't grow the Chrysalis as much, but then I get to use both of these. But then I don't have anything to Insight. So I could just play Infiltrator, Wildfire. That might be better, actually. Green, red. I lose a lot of counters on these, but I develop more on the board quicker, which I think is worthwhile. So we're going to sack both spawn to play our Chris. Then we're going to sack one, play Gixian. Then we get one counter on each of them here for a Wildfire. Definitely going for more black now. And we got a Wellspring. Alright, so that wasn't too bad. We developed pretty well. We have blockers, and we have a lot of card draw. And a Pulse of Marasa still. Vampire's Kiss. Blood Token away at Jagged Barons. They got Highway Robbery or something. Grab the prize. Okay, so we're at 8. We only got 2 cards in hand. So I can pulse back Gixian or Chris. I can't play the Chris. Gixian's not super relevant. So I think I'd rather start with a Wellspring, see what we get from there, but I'll still probably pulse this turn. Because 8 is not impossible for them to deal in a single turn. Probably getting back Chrysalis. If I attack with Chrysalis, they get in with Snacker, so I probably don't want to do that until next turn. Yeah, so I think we're just gonna pulse back Chris, go to 14, play this, and pass. But the next turn, I can play my Chrysalis, draw a bunch of cards, and attack with these two guys. Start putting the pressure on. They're gonna attack with both. I mean, I think I'm gonna block both. If they want to kill these, then it's just less damage they're throwing at our face. Highway Robbery brings back Snacker, sacrificing a mountain. Do you believe in Snacker banning? I'm kind of on the fence about it. I think probably no. As annoying as it is, the thing that's pushed me on the fence about it is that despite its blue-black color identity, it's mostly a mono-red card, but now with the banded attachments, it's seeping into blue. How long will it be until we get like a black card that can use it? And so suddenly we just have this Snacker card, this card that just permeates all colors. So it seems a little ubiquitous, but at the same time, there's a lot of ways you can fight it. I don't think I'm in on a Snacker ban at the moment. But it is extremely strong. I think we'll just hold up Insight here. Did I play a land? Oh, no, I didn't. Let's go for, let's go for a Insight on this Wellspring, try to get our land drop. It's only a 2-1. Yeah, there's never been a 2-1 that's very strong before. I think Sneaky Snacker and Refurb are both 2 of the best creatures in the format, and 2 of the maybe top 5 cards that I think could use a ban. So I don't think being a 2-1 necessarily means that it's not bannable. But I think at the moment I'm not particularly looking for a ban from either of them, or really any cards. I think the format's in a pretty good spot at the moment. It's only in 2 meta decks really though. No, it's in 3. You got Mono Red Madness, you got Rakdos Madness, you got Dimir Terror. I think those are all pretty meta decks. And it's also in, more fringe decks like Moxite and things like that. But no, I mean 3 meta decks is pretty ubiquitous for sure. Don't forget the most busted 2-1 Mage Tower Referee. Exactly. That one's pretty good. Alright. I could play Munitions, but I really need to draw a little more life gain, I think. Like a Lembas. So I think we're gonna Fanatical Offering a spawn here. Okay, Chrysalis and then Refurb. Chrysalis, or Refurb makes it so they have less cards, which keeps us alive longer. Alright, so we're going to do this. We're going to refurb them. So we have blockers. Discard a looting. This is when we're going to try to go as aggressive as possible. Cleansing Wildfire, pull out a land, and we're going to even map onto this Chrysalis, try to deal as much as we can. Krark does not matter. I think Spawn could be fodder for this munitions, but it could also just deal 7. They go to 18. The next turn we have 7 to 5 is 12. 14. It's 1 more damage now or 1 damage later with the munitions, so we might as well just do it now, I think. Because it actually costs a mana to do with the munitions, so. If it had a crazy ETB, then maybe, I don't know, it even comes back tapped, and it's kind of hard to get back if it isn't your turn. I don't know if any of that's... I mean, I don't know if that's quite true, Ben. I feel like it's not hard to get back on your opponent's turn with a Brainstorm or something like that. It's harder in a mono red deck or a red black, but I think you might be downplaying Snacker's power a little bit. It is a very strong card. And it coming tapped is the only thing keeping it from being banned, I think. We could just add to a Bolt, obviously. Or another Grab the Prize or whatever. If it came untapped, I think it would definitely need to be banned. But I'm not saying it isn't strong. We can't just ban all the strong cards. No, I fully agree with that. 100%. But it is... I think it's above most of the other strong cards. Do we have lethal here? Because they didn't kill us, which is great. I can play munitions. So how much mana do we have? 10 with this forest. Munitions for 2, which means I have 8 mana. So I ping this. I attack for 14, and I have 7 mana to throw 7 things, which is Xaxes. So I should be able to survive. Not just survive, I should be able to win here. And we have exactly 7 permanents to throw. That's pretty lucky. We will do that, I guess. Well, that munitions came in clutch. Usually it's something I set out for this matchup, and I think that's probably right, but that was really good. Alright, well, we get Duress, Toxin, Weather, Spell Bomb, maybe Breath Weapon. But here we get to cut Krark, cast downs. Yeah, if we're cutting all the cast downs, I like bringing the Breath Weapon. Munitions, as always, it was great there. But I think usually it's too slow. Like, if we were 1 damage off, it would have not been good enough. But, yeah. Ban Island. I mean, that has been consistently one of the best cards across all formats for a very long time. I do think it's probably time it goes. Hydra blocks their flyers, but it's also like 4 mana just to have a blocker that doesn't die to a lightning bolt. So it's just worse Chrysalis, I think. All right, we'll try that. Island way too strong. Yeah, I mean, if we want to have the real ban talk, like, Island needs to go. Alright, this hand has a little bit of life gain, but it's got really good ramp, which means if we draw into things, we like card draw and stuff, we're just suddenly fine for a while. I think we're going to try this one. It's risky, and I don't know if I'd keep this against mono red, which can be a little faster, but I think against Rakdos we might be okay. Alright, they got a Duress. They can get our Lembas or a Wildfire if they want. Neither one is terrible. I mean, I prefer we keep a Lembas, but blue mana on turn 1 and on turn 2, that is crazy. I think if you play an untapped island on turn 1, you shouldn't be allowed to on turn 2, personally. Alright, Wildfire, go for black. Pass. We did keep our Lembas, which is nice. Obviously not having a Wildfire is less nice, but we were going to lose something there. They got their Grab the Prize and Snacker. We didn't have a Spell Bomb or Bajuka, although Bajuka Bog obviously would have been too slow. That's pretty good, though, so we can do Chrysalis. I don't love playing the Twisted Landscape when we have so many other lands in hand, but I think getting the Chrysalis down is important enough that we will. They have another Grab the Prize with another Snacker. No land drop. That means they have all gas. That's a little scary. I think we need to try to race them then, because we currently don't have the life gain. Then they have 1 swamp, so I can't refurb and Infiltrator. Alright, well I think we play the Infiltrator. Gonna sack the Spawn, Lembas. Breath Weapon's not bad. Gets rid of the Snackers for a turn. Next turn, I'll hit for like 9. I don't think it's quite good enough. We're gonna pass. Replace all islands with blue Lotus Petals. Yeah, that seems only fair. To be honest, I think Refurbished is closer to being bannable than Snacker. Yeah, I think it's very close, but I would agree. And I love Refurbished Familiar, and I've been saying since it got printed that it's probably the most busted creature in the format, and might eventually need a ban. But I think, yeah, don't think Pauper needs bans. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. But this guy is so strong. Tapped blue Lotus Petals. It's crazy. You're going to make a color worse than white. Didn't know that was possible. Duress is really annoying because we don't have black mana for the offering. So they got it. I'm gonna sack the Lembas, get a counter, gain some life. I feel like Madness is just the deck to beat right now. People said this about Spy, and then the meta just shifted. Yeah, I think that's mostly true, although I think Spy's, like, peak was for, like, 2 or 3 months. I think Madness has been the deck to beat for 6 or 7 months now. But I agree generally that it's probably just another deck that the meta will shift and accommodate. If I attack with these, what are the chances they block with Snackers? Probably low. Maybe I'll get them to block with 1, although maybe it'll just be Epicure, but then I get to refurb them. I mean, I could leave back the Chrysalis. They're still having mana problems, though. I think we got to push our advantage. The advantage that we do have, which is small, but... Hello, love the Bruin with Golgari's Soul Animals a lot last time. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Oh, that was beautiful. They double blocked. Yeah, it was really fun brewing that deck. I'll probably try to do a little bit more brewing on the on stream because people seemed to enjoy it. Gonna play Refurb, see if I can get like a third snacker or something from this spell bomb. Highway Robbery. So we're gonna spell bomb. Question is, should I hold it or should I just crack it right away? All I could really play is like a Cleansing Wildfire or a Lembas or something like that. I think we'll hold it though if they have like a draw 2 or something that matters. I'll pass here. Where do I find the deck list? Deck list is under !deck or deck list. Will the VOD be available afterwards? Yes, always. All streams that I do go on the StrataGames YouTube channel afterwards. Within like a week or 2, but it'll definitely be up there eventually. Alright, so they Faithless Looting, and they Madness a couple things here, but I can catch the Snackers, and I also get to get a Faithless Looting, which is nice. Alms of the Vein, and then we're gonna Spell Bomb, exile their graveyard. We did get a Cleansing Wildfire that I could have used, but that's okay. We got a Faithless Looting off of it, so I think that's pretty worthwhile. If they attack, I have a good trade here. They don't attack. Alright, we're gonna sack the Landscape. My LGS had a sick Abzan Modular Brew go undefeated last week. It's awesome to see brews do well. Yeah, that's great. Big fan of that. Oh, Toxin Analysis. Perfect. So I'm going to Cleansing Wildfire, see if we draw anything else relevant. Grab a Swamp, play a Bridge. We're going to gain 7, so I think we might as well attack with everything. If they want to trade here, that's fine. Actually, we're gaining 8 because I'm going to crack the Clue before damage. They're going to block with the Epicure, that's totally fine. I'm still going to gain my life because they have no way to, like, Lightning Bolt it or something in response. Go up to 21 and pass the turn. What do you think about the 4 Gixian list without Pulse? Yeah, I was mentioning that a little bit earlier. I think it's cool. I don't think Pulse has ever been mandatory for the deck, although against all these Madness decks, obviously life gain is good, so you want to be careful of that. I think no Toxin is wrong is the only thing. I know those lists have been running mostly no Toxin analysis, and I think Toxin is just too good. People play it for the Death Touch, but I think people forget about the fact that it also gains lifelink. Like, they don't necessarily forget about it in terms of, oh, I'll gain my life, but they forget that it's a reason to actively be playing it. Like, I'll bring it in against a Madness opponent because I can gain 8 life off of it for 1 mana, and it's extremely strong when you do that. So, yeah, so I think that's not right, but otherwise I like it. 8 if you sack the Clue. Yep, I got there right at the end, and yeah, it was really good. Lembas. Might as well play the Lembas first, but we're going to play the Gixian here. I'm definitely going to keep a Pulse and swing for a bunch. I don't see any way they could deal 17 in a turn, and we're just kind of crushing them at this point. I mean, they were stuck on 2 lands for way too long, which is why we were able to get there, but could have drawn something before attacking too. Are you saying with the Clue I could have cracked it before attacking? Because you're right, but then they would be able to choose, like, I guess since they were tapped out it probably wouldn't have mattered, but like I like to do it as a trick so they don't expect the life gain necessarily, so they might block in a way thinking like, oh, he's at 13 life, and then I go up to 21 and they blocked in a, at that point, improper way. But yeah, I could have definitely done that. They do get to kill the Gixian because I didn't grow it enough beforehand, but that's okay. What do we have in the grave? Just another Gixian. Yeah, we'll just swing here. Tapped out in Rakdos, kind of. Yeah, like I said, though, it's the making them block in a way that might not be advantageous after they realize that I'm going to gain a bunch of life, I still think is valuable. Well, we're at 23. Even if they kill this or whatever, I'm in a pretty good spot. I think we're going to probably win this game. Unless they have, like, a couple Extracted Confessions or something. Double Alms gains them a lot of life. Big life swing. And if they have a Valdarin or something, they can block and not die. I guess currently... No, they are dying because they are taking 16. Oh, they're going to kill this. You can sack this to get 1 counter, but that's not going to save it up. That's okay. Twisted Landscape. I can sack for 1 counter. I guess we should count to make sure that's not lethal. It's 1 damage off. If it were lethal, I would obviously do that. Since it's not, we could maybe find something that actually is lethal. That's not, but they're going to go to 2 here, and I can clear any blockers they can make now. Seems pretty good. They got a Robbery. Sack a Swamp. Give us the GGs. All right. Well, we can still get a 4-1. My favorite, my specialty is the 4-1. Last round here. This hand is not amazing. I do have decent mana. I can play a Gixian into like a 3-mana refurb. I'll keep it, but it's not great. We're on the play, which helps, and we're in the blind, which if I knew I was against like an aggro deck, I might not keep, but we're against Dimir Terror, probably. The record in this league is 3-1 against Rectos. Mono Red Madness is what we lost against, and what else did we play against? I have no idea. It's all gone. Red Rally and another Madness. Oh yeah. It's pretty much all mono red. Yeah, but I guess we're doing mostly okay against them. So fairies actually, Dimir fairies. They can't snuff this out, so I guess I'll attack. If they block, I guess I Fanatical Offering the land. It's not great, but also like we get to kill their guy, which means no ninja, which is nice. And there's no counterspell. Makes the refurb even worse. I don't think they're going to block. I think it's a fine attack. Oh god, they blocked. It's not great losing the land, but we kill their guy, which is pretty decent. I don't know. We didn't have a lot else to play is the thing. So like we got to use our mana even if it did set us back a land. Extracted Confession is a little annoying, but all red is rough, but maybe good matches for us. Yeah, I think they're generally pretty balanced. Not the best matches, but not terrible. Play a Wellspring here, and I'll probably just play a Swamp Pass. Dimir Fairies plays with only 3 ninjas, I think. It is less important for them to keep the Fae. So that's true for traditional, like, control Dimir Fairies, but and that could be what this is. But a lot of the more recent Dimir Fairies decks have been tempo, and have been running more like 7 ninjas, 7 or 8. And have basically been mono blue, splash, black. Now with the Aqueduct and the Extract, maybe that's not what they are, but that's what I was thinking when I did that. They probably have a counterspell for Chris, so I think we just play a Wellspring. If they counter that, I can Eviscerator's Insight. If not, we can Eviscerator's at their end step. There's another Fairy Seer. Maybe we should have Eviscerator's Incited in response to that, because now they can spell stutter it. Probably should have done that, because now if they just pass to their end step, I'm probably not going to want to Insight. Let's grab one to the top, one to the bottom. Yeah. Now we could Chris, they could still counter, but then we could refurb. I think we'll just start with refurb, see what they want to do for that. Alright, that's good. Moonstruck Hacker probably means that they are the more tempo version. Could map onto the refurb so we have a better blocker. So I don't think I want a Chrysalis, so I think we just want to hold up an instant. Yeah, let's do this. They're going to cast it down, it looks like. Suffocating Fumes, okay. Well, that means they can't spell stutter, so I could Insight this, although we have 2 Wellsprings I want to sacrifice. But this does have Flashback. I think we will sacrifice this guy. And just play a bridge and pass. I thought all Dimir Fae ran Hacker and Into the Deep Hours, I think is tempo only. No, it's generally the opposite. Like the traditional Dimir Fairies that's control that I've been playing for like 2 years runs 3 Ninja the Deep Hours, and no other ninjas. Well, some Mukatai's in the sideboard. And so, yeah, the tempo version is usually the one that runs Hacker. Because in a control deck, you want to be drawing a card every single turn, whereas in a tempo deck, you don't mind like drawing and discarding as much. So yeah. They only have 3 cards. I mean, the chance they have a counterspell for the crystals are still probably pretty high. They didn't have a ninja last turn, which is good. If I play Lembas, they counter it with the Spell Stutter, and then they still counter the Chris. We have Pulse and only 1 green mana. Maybe I should have played some landscapes to get some green, so we're just going to play Chrysalis. If they counter it, I can Pulse it back and get it back in a couple turns. If they don't counter it, then we have a really good creature on board. Okay, so that resolved. Yeah, we'll just pass for now. I don't need to play a Lembas or something to get Spell Stuttered for no value. Cast that down. That's fine. Augur of Bolas. Well, they could have Spell Stutter, but they're going to have it at some point. I'm going to do this in response to see, in case they don't have any counter spells, they won't be able to counter this. And they didn't. That's great. Whereas if they get a counter spell off the Augur, they could have countered it. Got a Lorien. Swing with the Fairy, not the Ninja. So I feel like they don't have a Spell Stutter, because otherwise they would have used it. They probably don't have well, they could have a counter because they just wanted to cast down the Chrysalis. Didn't care about the offering. We have double Wildfire. We're still tons of life because they're being a little slow, so I think I probably actually just cast some Wildfires here, ramp a bunch, pull out our last basics. I don't even care about their Aqueduct, I don't think. And I can just cycle these landscapes or just play them as regular lands, which we'll do for one of these. So I have a Pulse of Marasa, and then I refurb here. Alright, they do have a counter. That's fine. They're probably just going to tap out for a Lorien. I could have pulsed in response, so they wouldn't have like a counter or a spell pierce or something, but I think I'd rather block the Augur so it doesn't get a ninja down. And if they counter the pulse, it's really not that big of a deal anyway. Get back, Chris. They do have the spell pierce, so be it. Here's another Chris. Let's Lembus. Another Chris, so we'll just play Landscape, play that, and so many spawn, we don't need them all as blockers, so I might as well sack a couple for a Wellspring right now. Alright. They could have a couple cast downs or snuff outs, but we also have a Gixian coming, so we should be alright. Krark can take out this Augur, or if they do land a Ninja, it can take out that, but also it can just draw us a couple cards off these Wellsprings, although we still have this Eviscerator's Insight from earlier, which is great, we just haven't needed it yet. So we have a lot of options. A million things to sacrifice for this Infiltrator. They have another Lorien, it looks like. I mean, makes sense. That is their name, after all. Another Wildfire. We don't have a basic left, so I am now just going to blow up their Aqueduct. So let's start with that. Go for the throats in the sideboard or for which matchups. Any matchup where we want some more removal. Elves, Spy. I mean, I have been bringing them in against Madness. Mono red, not Rakdos. I don't know if that's exactly right, but it does seem to be good to have a way to kill the Gutter Snipe right away, you know. Play Infiltrator. They snuff out the Chris in response, in case I sack it, which I won't. Might have another snuff out? No. Do I want to Krark, wipe their Augur, attack for a bunch? Probably. Sack some spawn. Map token the Krark. Yeah, but I don't care to have it be a 2/2 because I want to kill this Augur, so I don't really need to do that. It's a cool trick when you can and want to use it, and I could do it to grow the Infiltrator over and over and over, but I'd rather just do it all at once and get this Augur down so that they have to block with this or take a bunch of damage. Yeah, so we're going to do that. In fact, I think we'll sack the map. I have a lot of lands. Maybe I'll just sack a land to it. Well, we'll see first. We'll draw our cards from the Wellspring. Another Krark. Yeah, I think we'll sack the bridge here. Oh, I was supposed to... I blanked a little bit. I was supposed to Eviscerator's Insight the Krark. That's why I have all this mana floating. I did not, but that's okay. We'll sack the Lembus. I don't think Spellbomb matters against them. I should maybe have mapped onto the Chris, because if I get that to 8, then it would be a 2-turn hit. 2-turn clock. Whereas now, even if I do it next turn, it's only 8. And then the Gixian, if it dies or gets chumped, I can't kill. So yeah, I think that was bad, but it's okay. Wellspring, Eviscerators, we'll play a Spellbomb, play a bridge, we'll pass. Could Tragic Slip work instead of go for the throat? You got spawns, Krark, and cast downs. It could work, but I think we're a deck that wants to just have the... We're not, like, obviously cheaper is always better, but we're not a deck where the mana is so tight that the 1 mana is super relevant. And I think what is much more relevant is reliability. So yeah, you can't hit artifact creatures, but I don't think that's a big deal. We were talking about this earlier. If you wanted a way to hit artifact creatures or Guardian of the Guild Pact, you could do Terminate instead. But I think Jund is as kind of a mid-range control deck, you don't want to rely on the synergy necessarily of sacrificing one thing and then triggering it. You want to rely on you just want generically powerful cards, right? Yeah, so we are in the situation we were talking about where I could map this, but it's not quite lethal, which is a little annoying. We're at 23 cards in deck. Alright, let's Insight the Wellspring. They could have a Spell Stutter, but if they do that, then I don't have to worry about anything else. Hydra is going to be lethal if they don't have a cast down or something. They already used 1, 2... plus a snuff out. I don't need to go overboard, but I probably want this to be big enough where it can do some serious damage. Probably everything but the Krark, I guess. Like enough mana that I can play Krark as well. So it's going to be lethal here, but also if they kill this, I still have like a giant Hydra, which is pretty good. Alright, I got them. What do you think about putting Galvblasts in the 4 Gixian lists to make it faster? I don't mind some Galvblasts, but I think if you're fully replacing cast downs, I think that's a mistake. Like I was saying, we're kind of between mid-range and control, and that control side wants to be able to kill a Terror, or an Avenging Hunter with some counters on it, or a Generous Ant, or whatever. And Galvanic is a great card, but doesn't always do that. This deck doesn't... I would definitely do Galvanic over Lightning Bolt, but this deck doesn't as reliably... get Metalcraft all the time, so sometimes that's only dealing 2 damage, which is obviously not quite what you need. We don't need Spell Bombs. Probably all they have is maybe a Gurmag, although I'm guessing probably not even that, and Extract a Confession, which is pretty irrelevant. So yeah, if you want to do like a 2-3 or 2-2 split of Galvanics and cast downs, I think that's maybe okay. But to be honest, I've tried Galvanics and I've never been a big fan of it because I don't think you want to go faster. I know a lot of people have a problem with Jund because it's too slow. I don't really think of it as that slow. Certainly if you get up against a mirror match or against a Golgari Gardens or something like that, you're going to have a grindy, slow matchup. But I think in general, the deck is pretty reasonably paced, I guess. So I don't really feel like I want to make it faster and need that like burn win. Of course, sometimes it'll win you some games, but I think sometimes it'll probably lose you more than it'll win. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan personally. So Spellbomb doesn't do much. I don't think Krark does much either. So like Breath Weapon, I wouldn't usually bring it against the control version, but again, we've seen they're probably more of the tempo version, which means they have some more creatures, but they do have Augur Bola, so they're somewhere in between. So I don't love Breath Weapon, but I think I like it better than Krark. And this isn't a matchup where I'm dying for more removal, but seeing as I don't want these cards, I think a Go for the Throat is perfectly serviceable. So I think we'll do that. Marsh, send a hug to Rubo for me. Friend from my LGS. Well, many hugs to Rubo and everyone else. Big hug from Brazil. I appreciate you watching from all the way in Brazil. We can get black mana here. Turn 2, I can play Wellspring. This hand doesn't... I don't like this hand because we get stuck really quickly on turn 2. Unless we draw like the perfect lands or mana or card draw or something. This is okay. If they counter the Wellspring though with like an Annul or Spell Pierce, we just kind of get stuck. I think I got a mulligan this. Obviously one land is not better. I mean, I honestly think this hand is probably just about as good as the first one. So I don't hate this. Let's keep our untapped lands, I guess. Cleansing Wildfire is pretty good. Don't know if it's gonna resolve, but would be nice. Second Ice Tunnel. Well, we're gonna go for the Wildfire. Hope it resolves. Hope they don't have a Steel Sabotage. Hydroblast is fine. Any 1-for-1 I'm okay with there, but a 1-for-1 plus I lose my land drop is brutal. Bog doesn't really matter. We got nothing this turn. See if they want a Spell Stutter. No, just cycle Lorien. We got a Wellspring. Chris probably gets countered. I think Wellspring is almost the perfect card against a blue opponent because if it gets countered, it's not that big of a deal, really, especially if it eats a full counter spell. And if it doesn't get countered, then it develops this a little bit. So I'm fine kind of with either way that turns out. Obviously, I'd prefer to have had a 2-drop to follow up, but what are you going to do? Mystic's pretty good. Love to get a way to kill that, but looks like we're not going to get that. I'll just play Chris. They'll probably have a Snuff Out or a Cast Down or something. There it is. Bad spot. If they land like Monarch or something, we'll be in a really bad spot, but if not, and all they have is Mystic, maybe we're okay. Although if they have a bunch of counter spells and removal, it's going to make things pretty tough when they make a bunch of birds. I could just play a big Hydra on a spawn. I don't think that really does enough. Let's just cast Lembas. If they want to counter it, so be it. We'll keep a cast down, and we'll try to cast it down in their upkeep, which I'm sure will probably fail. Dispel. Unless the Dimir deck has counter spells and removal, so we're cooked. Yeah, probably, but you never know. They could be holding a bunch of spell stutters that don't do anything. They could be holding, I don't know, some other stuff. We do have a Breath Weapon to reset the birds at some point, which is, not the worst. Cleansing Wildfire. They did just scry 2 to the top. Part of me wants to Wildfire them. 2 is just too many good cards. Obviously, the ramp is really good, but I need them to draw poorly, and clearly they're not for the next 2 turns. So I think I am gonna, try to hit them. They don't have to search, but then they're just down a land, so that's fine. Spell Stutter. Well, here's our opportunity. We're gonna try to Breath Weapon. They have the Hydra Blast. That's really annoying. I mean, I guess I'll play a 1-2 Hydra, because now we're taking too much damage, but I think we've lost there. If the Breath Weapon went off, I think we'd have decent chances. They'd have 1 card in hand and wouldn't have amazing draws, but now I'm expecting them to just have perfect draws. Maybe I draw another Breath Weapon. That would reset their board. Like a draw 2 into a Breath Weapon would be great. Okay, they still have 1 card on top that they scried there. I think we'll ramp us this time, though. Give me Breath Weapon. Viscerator's Insight. Sack the Limbus. I could get like a Refurb. No. Okay, and they probably have another counterspell or something. Not to mention we're just dead next turn if we don't get a board wipe or life gain or something. It's a Fairy Seer. Okay. I mean, if I find a Breath Weapon, I could stay in this. Scry 2 to the top again. How lucky. Cast Down doesn't do it. Now I need an untapped land plus a Breath Weapon. That's going to be tough. There's the untapped land. No Breath Weapon. Yeah, we're dead. Oh, we got a Refurb. That's great. Yeah, we had a moment where we could be okay there. I mean, I could bring in another Go for the Throat, seeing as they have Mystic. I mean, I knew they were going to have a Mystic 1 or 2 somewhere in there. That doesn't really change much. Sure, we'll swap a Duress for that. Alright, we have 2 Wildfires, which would usually be great, but looks medium because we don't have a bridge. I could have red mana, and then I could Lembas on turn 2, which is still not terrible. I'm going to keep it, but not a big fan of all these hands without bridges. I guess if they scry 2 to the top again, I could, which they do, I could Cleansing Wildfire them. It's either that or Lembas. Lembas is probably better. Try to find that bridge. Vault of Whispers. Attack the Seer. Now they have Sprite up, which means I can't Wildfire, but I could Insight if they sack this or tap out or something. Or just their Instep maybe. They might go for a Brainstorm Shuffle. Yeah. We'll go for the Insight on the Lembas. They don't shuffle, actually, because they like all the cards. That's crazy. Swing with the Seer. I think we're playing Chrysalis, knowing that it probably gets countered, because it's like our only card to commit to the board, and then we at least can start like offering the spawn. And if it doesn't get countered, it probably gets cast down or snuffed out. But that's fine. There's the counter. Cycle Alorian. Another Seer. Scratch you to the bottom. Well, that's a first. Attack for 1. Get a refurb. And I have no black mana. Well, I have 1 black mana. I mean, I don't have the ability to, play multiple of these. Refurb is really expensive as well. I want to hit a land drop, but they also have Spell Stutter up, so I probably just go to their end step. And I try to like Offering and Pulse. I think that's the play. Our hand has a lot of good cards, but it's just really awkward because we have such a small amount of black mana. We have no bridge. Pulse is fine, but they get a Swamp. I guess if they go for a Ninja here, I could try to cast one down. Yeah, they got Thorn of the Black Rose. They're not even going to attack. Fanatical Offering a Spawn. That's good. I could Pulse a Chrysalis, although I just drew a Chrysalis. So actually I want to Pulse the land, I think. Yep, they might counter this, but that's fine. Yeah. We definitely need that land, so I can't even... Well, I could play Chris, and then I could play Refurb, sacking a Spawn. Oh, God. If I just had a bridge, I could gain a bunch of mana, and then we'd be fine, but this is tough. Let's Chrysalis, I think, into Refurb, so we have an attacker. Make him discard a card, then we'll pass. I've been really enjoying your downshift shorts. With the announcement of retiring Master sets, do you see many more downshifts occurring on a regular basis? It would be nice if Wizards would do Pauper Masters to add downshifts and make some reprints of expensive Pauper cards. Yeah, I think... Well, I'm glad you enjoy the shorts. I don't necessarily anticipate a lot of them happening anymore. I'm sure they'll probably find ways to sneak some in. And we do, of course, still sometimes get some downshifts in just regular sets. But you're right, we're not getting, a dozen of format warping cards like we have before. I don't necessarily anticipate getting a lot more, but I think it's still interesting to talk about, like, oh, we could get this, or whatever. And there's just a lot of cards that, like, every time, I feel like a lot of people comment on the shorts, like, oh, we don't need, Pauper's in a good spot, we don't need anything else. And it's like, well, Pauper's in a good spot because things continue to shift and change, and I'm suggesting things that could shift and change it in a different way. Pauper's in a great spot, but if the format was exactly what it is now for another year, we'd get bored of it, right? So I'm suggesting ways that it could continue to evolve. So yeah, I don't necessarily think that we'll get like those master sets and things like that. Pauper Masters, I also like the idea of getting reprints that are cheaper and maybe adding some downshifts and stuff like that. But I do think that if Wizards started focusing on Pauper with products like Pauper Masters, it might be detrimental for the format, as we've seen with so many other formats. All right, what do we do here? I could try to cast something down, but of course they have a Dispel, so that doesn't matter. Or they could just Spell Stutter it. I could map onto my Refurb, try to attack in the air. They double block with the Fairy Seers. That's fine. I mean, we probably start with a Cleansing Wildfire. No, let's start with the map. Because if I do get a counter, another Wildfire, I don't think I want a third, to be honest. If I do trade these for both of these, and then I Wildfire post-combat, they might not be able to Spell Stutter it if they do trade. They could also just cast it down. I could attack with a Chris. But we have so many removal spells for the Thorn, I think it's better to not. Maybe that same thing is true for this. Because if I cast down... Yeah, I don't know. Trade here. I'm going to Wildfire this. So now if they have a spell setter, they can't use it on this, which is why I did it that way. We're going to get more black mana. That could be pretty good, actually. I'm going to pass. Oh, I've been taking a while, apparently. So we are down below 5 minutes. That's fine. As long as I'm aware of it, we should probably be fine. So I wanted to sack this landscape for another black, so we have a bunch of black mana, and then at the end step I cast down and go for the Throat of the Thorn, knowing they'll probably dispel it. But now that I got the Hydra, I kind of want to use that on the spawn, which means I need to not sack the landscape, or I need to not go for the Throat. Oh, but if I use that on the spawn, I don't need a bunch of black mana, so actually, yeah, it's fine. Now they Augur. I'm gonna go for the Throat, the Thorn in response here, just in case they put, like, a counterspell or the Dispel on top. They might have to use a different counterspell. And they might think if they get a Snuff out for this Chrysalis, then that's all they need, but I'll know that, well, assuming they don't have a counterspell for the Hydra, we might be okay by putting it on the spawn. Yeah, you use a full counterspell here. Maybe it's just mana efficiency, but it might be because they put the Dispel on top, which they did. So I'm expecting at least one Snuff out. If they have two, we're we're in a pretty bad spot. But I'm going to hope they don't have that. And I think I'm just going to cast down Thorn, Hydra this for 3. I guess they can still just block them both. They lose so many guys, that's honestly not terrible for us either. They take it. Okay, so we get the Monarch, we deal them some damage. That's cool. They can attack back. I could sack the spawn, turning this into a Hydra and block. Is that better? They could just cast it down then. I think it's fine. They can take back the Monarch. If they want to flip a Ninja, that would use some mana, so I'm not too worried about that. It's pretty, like, fancy to do that. I just think it might be worse, because if we lose both the spawn and the Hydra for just one cast down, it's not very good for us. Especially because they can chump the Chrysalis, so I think keeping this around is probably best. They have a Mystic. We have a cast down, but they have a Dispel. They go for the Brainstorm, but of course if they have a blue land, they can still hold up Dispel. If not, we get to cast this down, and that's great. But they do have the blue land. One. Alright, we're going for a Wellspring here. We're going for a Cleansing Wildfire on their island, actually. This is what I should have done before, probably. It's going to be tapped, and I can just go to a different phase, so I can kill the Mystic. Unless they want to Hydra this, which is fine, because then I get to cast the Mystic down. We'll Refurb first. Discard a Null. We'll cast that down. Swing. We didn't get the Infiltrator down this turn because of that, which is not amazing, but they gonna block. Yeah, we'll kill the Augur. They do chump enough to keep the Monarch, which is fine. They have another Augur, and they find Extract a Confession. Currently, these are both 3 power, so I actually get to choose, which is pretty cool. So I'll sack the spawn, so we get to keep both of these, which will actually grow the Chrysalis, funnily enough. They could still have a Snuff out, but they're losing life, which is nice, and we haven't necessarily seen that they have that. Let's play Gixian. We know they have a Dispel for this offering. Oh, they're just going to counter this. Okay, well then we get to draw 3. Cast down Makeshift is pretty good, because now I can throw something at the bird, make sure we get in with the Refurb. I'll still attack with everything because I think we're just pressuring their life total a lot, especially with munitions now. They could Hydro Blast it, but I think it was worth it here. They're holding priority here, so it kind of feels like they have a Snuff out after all. They do. Then they chump. I kind of want to turn this into black mana, but actually they're low enough that I think we just want to make sure we get the most out of our Makeshift munitions. So let's throw that at them. They have to chump. They take 2 to 7. We get the Monarch. We have 5 things to throw, and they're at 7, so they really need to kill the munitions or something, or they're very close to dead. Monarch draws Offering. We have nothing we can do, so let's just pass. Priority here, not lose any time. They can swing. But they need blockers or removal for both of these, or they're going to die. Cast down on Chris. And Suffocating Fumes. That'd be pretty good. They do have it. Okay. Let's Wildfire. Grab a Swamp. Bajuka Bog. Their graveyard is irrelevant. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just pass. I know they have a Dispel here, so I don't want to, like, go digging with the Offering, not until their end step. They have a Lorien. If they don't find a Hydroblast, though, we're still just going to be able to munitions them, probably, as long as we can resolve a couple more creatures or artifacts or whatever. We'll take a damage here. We will sack a Landscape for a Swamp. I am going to Eviscerate his Insight here. I know we lose a thing that we want to throw at them, but I need to draw some cards, and all my hand is card draw, so I assume they'll Dispel this, and then I can resolve these, ideally. Which is not great if they have another Dispel. Hoping that doesn't happen. It did. So yeah, we're going down a bunch of our artifacts, but oh, there's an artifact. Cycle this. Breath Weapon is not what we wanted. I'll just cast this down because I'm going to try to go around anything else. I mean, those were some bad draws, and they had a bunch of Dispel, so that's not great. I would I'm looking for like Chrysalis, Gixian. We still have 3 Chris. Although, of course, they could have counterspells, removal now. Removal is not a big deal. Counterspell is worse. I just have my only green mana. Well, that's not great. Wellspring. Now we're going to get Chris, of course. No, not even. Juka Bog them. We will draw a card off this Wellspring just to see what we get. Gixian. It's worth playing. They could just counter it, but I can throw it if they just try to kill it. 1, 2, 3, 4 artifacts plus a vault, so we're 1 away. They're going to kill that. Throw it. They might not side in Pyroblast. I assume you mean Hydroblast, but we've already seen they have Hydroblasts, so they might not have any more, but they've definitely sided them in. They do have the Blue Blast. I should have responded by using Map Token, or throwing the Map Token, and I did not, which is bad. Yeah, that's not great. Grab our last Forest. Our draws these last couple turns have just been not very good. We'll play Olympus here. There's Chris. Another Fairy Seer. Scry 1 to the top. Well, I'm going to cast this down. I'm expecting like a Spell Stutter, and then I'm going to try to Breath Weapon and just hope they don't have the other counter. Or if this just goes through, that's fine, I suppose. Wellspring, play that. We're going to map onto the Chrysalis, and now they have a Snuff Out for it. Yep. I mean, we could have played a little faster so we wouldn't go to time here, but I don't know. We were very close with the makeshift, and we just didn't quite get there. I guess we'll duress them. Why not? They counterspell. I'll pass. Hey, maybe in 50 seconds they mill out. They do draw 2 cards every turn. I guess that's my my win con. Yeah, 5-turn deck out. Yeah, I think that's really all I'm supposed to do. I don't have time to do anything else, but they shouldn't be able to kill us in that time. And I can certainly F6 through 5 turns in 50 seconds, so we'll go for a Breath Weapon just to see if that will work and can stall them a little longer. We'll do the second one, and then we'll continue to F6 for the next 5 turns. We will pay for the Spell Pierce. Oh, and that worked. We will pass back to them. Not really how I wanted to win this game if we do win it, but I guess it is a viable way to win. Still a win, for sure. Swing with a Thorn, we take 1, and we'll just keep passing. That Monarch is a liability. I feel like we did not see that many like Spell Stutters. Like, I'm surprised that they haven't had Fairy Seers. I think we saw 3. Maybe they took some out, but I feel like I've only seen like the 1 or 2 Spell Stutters. I feel like this matchup would have been a draw in paper. Potentially. I mean, it's definitely looking like it. And you can take much more time on your own turn to draw it out in paper. Well, we did get there, I suppose. They said they were thinking of putting Campfire in. Apparently they have it in the sideboard. That would have done it. Well, as predicted, we got the old 4-1. Yeah, not a bad record at all. I mean, it's Jund. What do you got to say? It's a good deck. I still enjoy it. Certainly, sometimes you go to time or almost to time, milling out and things like that. A lot of different ways you can play it. So I'm playing the no Blood Fountain version. I had kind of forgotten that when people were asking about it. But I do like Toxins in the sideboard. I think they got to be somewhere in the 75. Otherwise, you are severely hindering yourself against elves, Gruul monsters, but also just the burn decks, Madness and things like that. And I'm always on the fence about Pulse. I feel like every single time I cast it against anyone who's not burn, I just don't care. Like, the value of it is like, maybe sometimes I get back 1 Chrysalis and it's okay. But anytime I play it against a burn opponent and I gain 6 life, obviously it's pretty nice. But otherwise it feels kind of irrelevant. But yeah, I mean, it's a good deck. I like 21 lands with the Bajuka Bog. We still had some mana problems, as you do sometimes. But yeah, in any case, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much, and I will see you all next time.